So 2-4 quiz, the new answers that we're trying to get on this. For number 1 is a sentence that says, for every pair of different points, there corresponds a unique, positive, real number. So if you didn't have that answer, jot that down or file that away. For every pair of different points, there corresponds a unique, positive, real number. Or actually, you don't need to say real. You could say real, that's true, but not necessary. For every pair of different points, there corresponds a unique, positive number. By which I mean, here's a point, there's a point. If we try to tell how far those are apart, there is a number for that. And once you pick the number for that, that's the only number for that. So if the distance between these is 3, and I go ahead and I draw about the same distance over there and ask you what it is, that's got to be 3 again. Unique means one of a kind. Positive, all distances are measured positive. That's just how that goes. So next time when we do a quiz, you'll see that same question. For every pair of different points, there corresponds a unique positive number. That's a postulate, so am I going to try to explain why that is? No, just this. Number 2, you should have filled in the blank with the word distance. So whenever we've got these 2 points and I put a number to go with them, that number is called the distance. Then the second blank, you should have just said PQ. If this is the point P and this is the point Q, in geometry, if I write PQ, that's the abbreviation that means the distance from P to Q. This isn't like algebra where if I write letters next to each other, they're trying to multiply. If we have points with names and I write the letters next to each other, that's referring to the distance between the points. So someday if I'd say to you, show me PQ, and put that little segment hat on it, I'd want you to draw a dot for P, I'd want you to draw a dot for Q, I'd want you to connect the dots with a segment. If I'm talking about PQ with that little segment hat, which we've had other days, that's a picture you could draw. If I asked you to show me PQ, the distance from P to Q, you'd say like 7. It's a number. It's just a number that refers to how far apart those points are in distance. Next time, that question stays the same. You're not going to fill in the blank with distance anymore next time, but that PQ question is going to stay the same. Properties from 4 to 9, I'll pick 3 of them. I'm not going to tell you which 3, but I'll tell you it is 3 of the ones that are already on here. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, there were 6 properties. I'm going to pick 3. Does anybody need some help on what the answer should have been 4 to 9? Anybody need a repeat of what that stuff was about? No?
What's
9? 9 was if A equals B and B equals C, then A equals C. Or if you like greater or less better than equals, you can use that as well. But 3 letters. If A equals B and B equals C, then A equals C for transient. Anybody else properties there to none?
Can you repeat that one?
Yeah, if A equals B and B equals C, then A equals C. More stuff, not? Let's see, 11 I'll keep, 12 I'll keep. What's the magic word for intersection that I'm chasing always pretty hard? Common. Intersection, you're going to have to get the word common in there somehow. What's the phrase to chase for union? One or both. So that's how those questions will be. The rest of that is going to disappear temporarily. So again, summary from 2-4. 1 is a key, 3 was a key. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, there were 6 to choose from. I'll randomly keep 3. 11 is a keep, 12 is a keep. So there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 keeps. The rest of the quiz 2-5 is from a read. Reading 2-5. When you read 2-5, there's going to be 2 postulates. And some other like definition, fill in the blanky stuff. The postulates are also going to be fill in the blanks. So anytime there's a postulate, what's one thing that I told you is important always to know about the postulates?
They don't need explaining.
That's true, but on a quiz, what could you expect the quiz question to be about if you read about a postulate? What's a likely quiz question? The name of the postulate is likely, so be aware of what the names are, because that's possibly questioned. If it's a shorter sentence, what do I usually do if it's a shorter sentence? Just make you write the whole sentence. These are not shorter sentences. So what these are going to be are more like paragraphs, and what I'll have for these postulates, in addition to know their name, I'll put some blanks in there. So there are going to be some portions that are more important than others. I'll have you fill in the blank with the postulate. Now, if you knew the whole paragraph, that would help you fill in the blank for sure, but I'm not going to ask you to memorize the entire postulate. But you need to read and be familiar with the whole postulate, because you're not really sure where I'm going to put the blanks. So 2.5, again, two fairly long postulates. There will be some fill in the blanks on those. There's one other definition section. New reading total is 8. Even though there's only 3 things of blue in it, there's 8 points, which tells you each little segment of blue is not worth 1 point. There's like 2, 3, 4 answers out of each little pocket you're going to encounter. So one postulate, one definition pocket, another postulate, 3 pockets of really important information to read that'll navigate to 8 new points. Quiz total is 15. Metric life, tomorrow's finally the one that's all empty, so you just get the empty sheet. You might not have noticed each day there is a blank line. There's always the titles, then there's a blank line, then I start writing. So if you are doing the extra credit tomorrow, you already have one blank line for one of the extra credits. You could just fill the other one into the bottom. But you'll just do name, symbol, prefix, number, the whole bit, just all on your own. Question about quiz?
Could you repeat the union one?
Yeah, union is the set of all the elements that are in one or both. You're welcome. Homework, you could have started if you wanted to. We had done a couple practice problems the other day on page 30. So page 30 is a 1 to 10. That's now actually due tomorrow. We'll talk about that a little bit more tomorrow. But page 30 is the homework. Any question about what we've got going there?
17.
17 got ditched. That'll reappear on the test, but that won't make it tomorrow. Do you have it from the notes from 2,
I should.
3? It's in the book too. It's on, it's somewhere in the book, one of the pages. I'll have that if you need it. Anything else, Quizzy, anything? Okay, let's look at page 20, what do you have, 18? Is that the one you have? Okay. So, 18, here's answers for 18. Number 1, I'm going to say A and C and D are yeses. The other ones are no's. So 1, A, C, D, those are yeses. B and E is a no. 2 should have an A in squiggly brackets. Anytime we do intersections and unions, we want to use the squiggly brackets. B would be P and Q separated by a comma in squiggly brackets, a list of 2. So P, comma, Q, squiggly brackets. C is the empty set. So you have 2 different symbols you could use for the empty set. Just pick one. 3, the intersection answer has 2 and 10. The union answer has 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12, 14, and 17. 4 goes 1, 2, 1, 0, and D. And then let's pause there. Again, like this is the homework review for the test. So you want to make sure you're jotting down answers. If you wrote in pencil, maybe fill in something new in pen. If you got something wrong, let's ask and figure it out. Anybody 1 to 4, something 2. Okay, so 2, the intersection just means what they have in common or where they touch. So for picture 2, the first picture for 2, where the circle and the line touch each other is just at A. Is that okay? And then for picture B, they touch at P and they touch at Q. So we're going to go like P, comma, Q. Is that okay? And then C, they don't touch at all. So that's the empty set. You can just draw the squiggle brackets with nothing in there. Matthew, you got something 1 to 4?
No, but when is the homework test?
About a week away. I'm not sure. 1, 2, 3, 4. Before we do it, I'd give you a list of which problems were my favorites. So you don't have to like memorize every homework answer. I'll tell you my favorite ones. But for now, you want to have some correct answers written down. And maybe a note or two if you're like, I don't get this. Then let's explain it and make a note or two so you have it to look at later. 5, you should go squiggly brackets, and then it's D, comma, E. B, where they cross, is at a segment. So for B's answer for 5, we'd want to do D, E, and put a segment hat on the thing. So it looks like this, D, E, segment hat. If you want to wrap that up in squiggle brackets, go ahead and do that if you want to, but they're not necessary. If you're doing lists of points, or lists of any kind of anything, so you want to separate them with commas. But on this one, where they touch each other is a segment, so the segment hat will cover your ability to just skip the squiggle brackets if you want. C is another segment, so it's BC, and then just put a segment hat on BC. 6A would be all the positive integers, so you could either with words write all the positive integers, or you could with numbers write like 1, 2, 3, 4, ... and write squiggly brackets around that if you wanted to. For B, it would be the empty set. The evens and odds don't have anything in common. 7A, you'd have like 3 and 4, 6 and 8, 9, 12, 15, 16. Eventually you'd give up and just put ... because that's going to go forever. But like 3, 6, 9 is the multiples of 3. 4, 8, 12, that's the multiples of 4. You just want to put them in a list where they're actually like in order, like the number line is. B, you'd have 12, 24, 36, ... forever and ever. Just, that's not going to stop. Let me answer stuff off of those. 5, 6, 7. Anybody have something there that's not making sense?
Or you do 5B.
5B, the line L is the thing that's going right through the middle. So I'll do my yellow plus blue makes green kind of thing. The line's going like this, so that's yellow. Then they said the triangular region, and this is a good question because I don't think we've used that word this year. The triangular region means they're including the inside. So the triangular region is all of this. So when they ask you, where is the yellow line touching the blue region, it would be all of that. Did we rewind, or did that make sense so far? Okay, so then what that is, that's a line segment. It has a beginning and an end, so we're going to write the line segment hat on whatever letters those were. What was that? D and E. So it would be a line segment hat on D and E. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Anybody else? 5, 6, 7, and kind of like help me. I don't get what's going on. Okay, 8, if I made one point on the blackboard and I started drawing lines through it, how many choices would I have? Infinite. So here's a spot on my board already. There's a line that goes through it. There's a line that goes through it. There's a line that goes through it. I could do this for literally all of eternity. That would never stop. So then their follow-up question is, if we made a set out of that, how many elements would be in the set? Infinite. 9, they play a different game. There's 2 points, and they want to draw straight lines that touch them both. They have to be straight. They have to touch them both. So we go 2 points, straight line that's going to touch them both. How many options do I have? Just that one. So if we have 2 points, I can draw myself one line. Then they want to draw in a third point, I think. And now with this third point, they're asking 3 points, not on a line. We want to draw lines that go through 2 at a time. So we connected A to B. We could also connect
A to C,
A to C. We could also connect
B to C,
B to C. So now how many lines are there?
3.
3. I think if we turn the page, they throw in a fourth point. So they throw in a fourth point. Now what do we have? If I go with a fourth point, call it D, I can connect
A to D,
A to D,
B to D,
B to D,
C to D.
C to D. So now I'm up to 6. Fifth point. Anybody have a prediction?
12.
No.
9.
No.
10?
10 what? Okay. Did you draw it to figure it out, or was there a pattern to it?
There's no pattern, that's just how it.
There's a pattern. Can anybody see a pattern?
Is it if you add up the points in line of the previous, it gets you the amount of lines?
Yeah, like if I add on a fifth point E, do I still have all 6 from before?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, all of them are still there. I can also now connect from E to
A, B, C, and D.
A, B, C, and D. I'm going to get 4 new ones. So I'm up to 10. If I wanted to do a 6th point, would I still have all 10 of those lines from before?
Yeah.
Yeah. But how many news would I make if I made an F and connected F to the old ones as well? There'd be 5 more. We'd be up to 15. If I wanted a 7th point, I'd be up to 21. Because this time we went up. Crash. This went up 2, then it went up 3, went up 4, went up 5, went up 6. If we did it again, we'd go up 7. Okay, there is a pattern to that. Then they ask a question in D that basically nobody ever gets. And I'm not going to tell you the answer to D. I'm just going to tell you there is a way to do it, and I'll let everybody puzzle it on it for a night. There is some sort of math process that you could have 3, do math to it, and get 3 out. Have 4, do math to it, and get 6 out. Have 5, do math to it, and get 10 out, where you're doing the same math process every time. They're asking you to imagine what, if it's an n, if it's a variable, what's the math process that you'd have to do to that to produce this? Like a wrong example would be, oh, just multiply by 3. This works if you multiply by 3. Why is that a wrong answer? So it doesn't work for 6. You know, if you're like, oh, multiply by 2, that might seem right here, but it's not that because it doesn't work for the other ones. But there's some sort of math thing that will always work, that if you have this and you do math to it, you'll always get the result. It's like a 2 or 3 step math plan though. You have to like do this and that. It's not just like, oh, just add this. It doesn't work. So puzzle 9 out. Don't give me 9. Keep 9. See if anybody can do that. We'll talk about that another time. Like 1 out of a million people would get that right. 10, they're asking you to list subsets. And we did this already another day. Let's see, they say there's 2 elements, and they listed 4 subsets. A different day, I think we did this with 3 elements. Or you're doing it in 10A, I guess. In 10A, how many subsets did you create?
7.
No, that's close though. 8. If you had 4 elements, anybody have a guess about how many subsets there should be? 16 is true. If we had 5 elements, 32. I think that's as far as they took you. Then they asked you to try to sense a pattern so that if you had some random number, what is the math process to figure out that answer? It is double the one before it, but we would need to express that somehow in terms of like this n thing. Like you're doing something to 2 to make this, something to 3 to make that, something with 4 to make that, something with 5 to make that.
2 to the end.
It is 2 to the n. That's an easier one than that one. I'd say this, we get 1 out of 100 or 1 out of 1,000 people might get that right on their own in the homework. But it's 2 to this power. 2 to the 5th makes this, 2 to the 4th is this, 2 to the 3rd is this, 2 to the 2nd is this. That's how those feed into that. So if I'd say to you, there's 47 elements, how many subsets would you get? The answer would be, you could find the answer by doing 2 to the 47th power. That would be a really big number that your calculator would like blow up over. It wouldn't even want to do it, I don't think. Keep that page because 9 is still up for grabs. Other than 9D, anybody something you want me to do again from that?